Hey everyone. Yeah, I'm going to attempt to do this. I tried to do it yesterday twice, except our smoke alarm needed its batteries changed, so I had to take care of that. But anyway, it's probably better that I do it today because today marks the fact that it was 20 years and 2 weeks ago today, 20 years and 2 weeks ago today, that the final episode of Sonic SatAM aired. And that episode, of course, was one that everybody has said is probably the best episode the series has ever done, if not the most perfect episode. And that is the Doomsday Project. Now, long story short, basically, the whole season, with the exception of 4 episodes, the whole season was building up to this. Now, like I said, there were 4 episodes that were an exception here. That being, of course, the Blast of the Past two-parter, and of course the two episodes that contained 11 mini-episodes inside. Sort of like what Sonic Boom is doing right now. So anyway, majority of the episode, like I said, with the exception of those 4, were building up. They were building up to Doomsday. And there was a lot of episodes, and I'll even say Blast of the Past kind of gave us a clue maybe, but not really. But most of the episodes, like I said, except for the 4, gave us some clues as to what we were heading towards. I mean, right off the bat, the first episode, Game Guy, towards the end, gave us an idea that, of course, there were other freedom fighter groups, but there was also a list, and that this list of freedom fighter groups were looking for Sally. So that kind of told you that this season was going to be a little bit more different, because now they had a purpose besides just going on missions and stopping Robotnik. They had a purpose to go and find these other groups that could help them in their cause. Now I know you might be saying, well, wait a minute, didn't we already have that established in the first season? Yeah, we did. We did have it established in the first season that there were other freedom fighter groups. We did. But you see, they didn't have an idea of where they were going with at that time. So that might contradict, I should say, the fact, of what was mentioned in this episode. But still, contradict or not, it gave you an idea that something big was going down. And then as we got later on in the season, we got more hints, more obvious things happening that was leading you to know that something big was going to happen. I mean, first we had Uncle Chuck finally get his free will back and become a spy. So we had that. We had that going on. And then as we got towards the final, the final, trying to think, final 5 out of 6 episodes, we definitely got a clue as to what's been building towards. The Void, for example, gave us a clue as to the fact that Doomsday was a big deal. Now, the Void, of course, got revisited because it first appeared in Game Guy, so it got revisited, but it also allowed the connection between the Game Guy episode and, in this episode to have that connection, and some of the other episodes to have the connection too. But it had that connection. Even Blast of the Past was kind of connected through this because of the Void. But anyway, some things finally, kind of came full circle. For example, Sally finally found out where her father has been the whole time. That he's been with Naugus, who we do get introduced to in the Void, and it gets mentioned in Blast of the Past. But we finally get introduced to him, and again, like I say, we find out that he's been there, that Robotnik sent him there, and basically he's been trying to get out. And he realizes the only way he can get out is with the help of Sonic. So basically, long story short there, he kidnaps Sally and Bunny by using a fake artifact to trap them, to lure them into the void. And basically, this is where she finds out where her father's been. Again, long story short, this is how she also gains the list that Ari mentioned to Sonic in Game Guy. And they also get Ari back, so that kind of connects things there. That helps bring things full circle there, and thus connects it to what's going to happen 2 weeks afterwards. Now, I know you're thinking, well, what do you mean 2 weeks afterwards? Well, 2 weeks after, between the Void episode and Cry of the Wolf, they did again, like I said, one of their episodes where they had two 11-minute mini episodes, like I said, were kind of like what Sonic Boom is doing right now, to kind of fill up time, kind of being nothing but filler. So basically, getting back on track here, the list of freedom fighters helps them find the Wolf Pack, helps them find other groups. And as we get towards Doomsday, a lot of things start to develop, a lot of things start to happen. You know, we find out about the Doomsday pods in Cry of the Wolf. Tails, who throughout the season, believe it or not, was actually being trained to become a freedom fighter, finally come full circle as a freedom fighter and become one. The whole Spy Hog, which was the episode before Doomsday, allowed things to come full circle because it allowed Robotnik to realize, wait a minute, the only reason the freedom fighters have always been beating me to the punch is because somebody obviously is letting them in on my information. So that happens there. So that helps that from Sonic Conversion come full circle, just like Game Guy helped Void come full circle. And then we get to Doomsday, which brings everything full circle, and basically allows, as much as some people may not like hearing this, allows Robotnik to be finally shown as the genius, the badass, even in somewhat of a comedic tone at times, but the genius, the badass, the legit threat he can be. It allows him to be this because basically, if you watch the episode, all right, just checking my time there. But like I said, if you watch the episode, you get the idea that he's already aware that even though Uncle Chuck escaped his grasp after he discovered he was a spy, obviously Robotnik knew that Uncle Chuck was still spying on him, so he had to do something to throw him off. So what did he do by throwing him off? He basically sent a false report saying, okay, Doomsday's going to launch this week, but instead he's going to launch it the week before. To kind of throw him off, to throw Uncle Chuck off, throw Sonic, Sally, Bunny, and all of them off. He decided to bait them into thinking it's going to be the week before, the week after, and not that week. And I think as Sonic puts it in this episode to Antoine, Robotnik suckered them. He suckered them into believing it's going to be the following week instead of this week. So, and it was just really, really good to finally see Robotnik. I mean, not that he's been, not that the show had never betrayed him as a legit badass and threat and all that. It has, but this is really where it allowed him to really shine because, again, it showed that even though the freedom fighters have been able to outsmart him, he's turned everything that they've used against him on them in this one episode by baiting them into showing up. To Doomsday a week before it was originally supposed to launch. And of course, they take the bait. They go to Doomsday. Several of the freedom fighters, Ari, Loop, some of the extras are captured, taken prisoner. So basically, it's revealed, basically the freedom fighters, the knothole ones, the main four, if you will, come to realize that, not only has the freedom fighters that they have associated with been captured, but Sonic basically tells Sally, look, the plan's blown. He's basically telling Sally right there in that scene, the plan's blown. Robotnik knew we were going to take the bait. He knew we were going to show up. He was ready for us. So, anyway, long story short, Sonic tries to get the job done on his own with some bombs, if you will. That doesn't happen because obviously Robotnik's ready for that. Robotnik finally gets Sonic into a roboticizer and basically specifically says, hey, no matter what you try to do, I made this roboticizer for you. Which would lead anybody to probably think, oh, wait a minute. You're telling us this whole Doomsday project thing is not just an attempt to finish conquering the world, but it's also mainly another Sonic trap? That might deject some people, but yeah, and somewhat that's what it was. I mean, I think when you look back on it, it was obviously not just he's going to use it to finish conquering the world, but it's also just something to get Sonic, if you will. So, long story short, Sonic is able to escape with the help of 3 power rings. We find out that because Robotnik was obviously so egotistic and confident that he was going to be victorious, that he leaves the deep power stones. Now, the deep power stones are another item that comes into play in these final 4 episodes. In Druidhead, which was Tails' episode, they come into play there, and it's basically depicted that if they're connected one way, they give incredible power. Connected another, they create ultimate destruction. So basically, Uncle Chuck reveals to Sonic, oh, by the way, yeah, he may have outsmarted us, he may have gotten a step ahead of us, but guess what? In his overconfidence, he left the Power Stone. Back in Robotropolis. So Sonic goes and gets the Power Stone with the help of Nicole and brings it back, and then along with Sally, gets ready to use it. And this is where a lot of Sonic Sally fans, actually one of the best moments in their minds that they've liked, because basically it's here that Sally tells Sonic that no matter what happens, they're together. They're going to go through this together. That it's not that she's basically confessing her love for him right there. She's saying, look, we're in this together no matter what. Because of that love she now has. She's basically telling him that if I have to die in battle, if I have to die saving this planet, I want to die by your side. So that was basically probably the best moments they've seen. And then, of course, we get to the climax, and it's probably one of the best climax you see in a Saturday morning, or a weekday morning, or weekday afternoon show. Basically, hold on for a sec. Sonic and Sally use the Deep Power Stones to basically, act like power rings. Basically what happens is they have to make a decision. They either use it the other way, which would cause ultimate destruction, or they use it the other way for incredible power. And what the incredible power does when they decide to go that route is it allows the power stones to get absorbed into Sally and Sonic. It allows Sonic's power, his speed, bits of his personality, if you will, and I'll talk about that probably in the second part, to go into Sally and thus make them super versions of themselves.